What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Team Big Play. So today we have a new deck profile for you. I'm going to be doing Zefra Endymion, which this is actually the first pendulum-based deck profile I'm doing for the channel. So one of the reasons why I picked this deck, and this is the new deck I've decided to main over Prank Kids. One, primarily because Prank Kids brick a lot more often and it makes me very sad. And because of Pendulum's stance in the metagame today. First off, cards like Nibiru, Dark Ruler No More. Unlike most combo decks, Pendulum can actually function around really well. For example, Nibiru, we can get out Jackal King with like really easy, and then on top of that, even if we don't get to Jackal King and you decide to combo us, all we have to do is Pendulum summon out one monster, like let's say Zefra Endymion, for example. We get our Zefra Divine Strike, link those two, and do a full Orcust combo into either Crescendo, or you could always go the route if you have the resources to go Babel and Dingirasu. And then on top of that, going second, like I said, you have Orcust, so you can Dingirasu, Longirasu, Sen, Oral Sword. The recovery is insane, plus you put out 7 negates, and it just deals with a lot of problems combo decks have today that in the future they're gonna kind of have to deal with, especially moving in. I think we get our next ban list October, and during then, of course, Striker got the reprint. I feel like they're about to get hit because they got out of the reprint. That's why everything's so cheap. You get to play Striker for like 2 months and then it's gone. Same thing with, I think, a lot of decks, because they want to move in more stuff, for example, Incest and whatever else. Plus they got to wipe the slate clean for the next anime series. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing today. Quick reminder, like, sub, notification bell if you enjoy, and let's get into it. Alright, so for the profile, I decided to, instead of going, the normal monster spell trap route, I decided to kind of go by engine, just to show you the components, because like I said, this deck is very customizable. You could, for example, take out the Zefra engine, leave Zefra Endymion, Divine Strike, send off Electromite, Ancient Throw, and Pendulum Magician, or you could just add it. Like, there's a lot more customizability here, customizability, whatever, in this deck, so that's why I decided to do it. So starting off, we're gonna go with our combo starters, extenders, just kind of the misc ones anyways, because of course using the Gaurdragon engine and the Endymion, you have starters there, but whatever. So first off, 2 Duelist Alliance and a Master Pendulum to Draco Slayer. So the reason why I kind of decided to go with these two is, one, for Servant. Duelist Alliance, counter, Master Pendulum, activate, uses its effect to destroy itself. Counter, plus it's a dragon, so if you can't get to Dark Worm, you still have like 3 other ways to get into that Gaurdragon engine and open it up, which is like always nice in general to have, just in case you don't get access to it. Plus, then not only that, if you have something up clogging your scale, you can use Master Pendulum, activate it, get rid of it. Like, you have Zefra, and let's say you ran out of targets, Master Pendulum, get rid of the Zefra, activate high scale, bada bing, bada boom, you're good to go. Then we have Triple Chronograph and Time Gazer. Time Gazer is awesome. Honestly, I think if you wanted a monster to just normal summon, because I've considered that sometimes, Time Gazer is amazing because it prevents your scales from getting destroyed by Ghost Ogre, which I honestly feel like is probably the best card to use against Pendulums. So that way you get your Servant off, you don't have to deal with Nibiru, plus Chronograph, anything gets destroyed, and it gets out Time Gazer for free. So, good stuff, always good stuff. 2 Curtain Raiser, just because activating scale, special, good. And 2 Abductor, just to kind of, so if I don't pull into Servant, I can still have Abductor to be able to follow up with if they do Nibiru me. Plus, it's a search, and a free search is, always nice. So for our Endymion engine, I went with 3 Servant, that's pretty standard, 1 Jackal King, and then, which is what I see most people run 1 and 1. I prefer to run 1 and 2 because it comes up actually where I'll have these 2 on the field, and then I'll just have this as a high skill, because it's always a nice high skill to have search. Like, if you have Abductor, you have this on the field, so that way next turn, 6 counters, you can pop 6 cards on the field. I think that's how that works. And then 3 spell power mastery, just search it out, and then spell counters. So for our next engine is the Zefra. So part of the reason why I went with the Zefra over something like Pendulum Magician is because of, number 1, being able to get the Divine Strike, and number 2, because I feel like it generates spell counters better than what Pendulum Magician can do. Because of course Pendulum Magician, you can use Duelist Alliance, Pen Call, get into your scale, which is kind of the same way it works with Zefra Providence, but that's about it. And even then, if you use Pen Call and you don't have something to pop aside from Servant, you can't use your Magicians because of Pen Call's conditions. And then on top of that too, you know, they have a field, Zefra has a field spell, you can use Terraforming, Set Rotation, there's just a lot more flexibility there too. And the monsters, like, there's a pop in the deck in Zefra Thubin, which is awesome, plus Zefra Thubin can also unclog your scales, which is amazing. So for it, I run 2 Zefrath to, you know, send Zefranu, 2 Zefranu to search Divine Strike, 1 Zefra Thubin, like I said, to get that pop, plus your defense is pretty high, so, you know, if you ever need to stall. Terraforming to search Oracle of Zefra, 3 Providence, and a Divine Strike. So normally your combo is you're going to activate Servant, and if you have Providence or Terraforming, you have full combo. You know, as long as it doesn't get Ash. But we run Call by the Grave. So Terraforming, you go into Oracle, 2 spell counters, search Zefrath, 3. Providence, Oracle, Zefrath, 3. So if you kind of get the gist, like, it's really Servant turbo. And then for our Gaurdragons, to bring off a seal, I run 1 Persona Dragon. Just because, you know, it's another negate. I'm an odd-eyes person, so being able to run it is amazing. Of course, you could always run the Amorphage, which I feel like is more of just a win card. Like, it's a win more card because it's not necessarily going to be too useful, but I can imagine it comes up. And then, of course, you can also run Aether just to get the banish. Plus, if you decide to run Pot of Desires, you probably should run 2 copies of something. So, and then 2 Supreme King Dragon Darkworm and 1 Gate 0. I run 2 Darkworm just so that way you're not drawing into it as often, because it's something that you'd rather shrine, send, special, you know, to generate spell counters than normal Darkworm, get 0. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but it's a break to draw 2. 1 Destrudo. It's Destrudo. It's a free Dawn Dragster, and, you know, Gaurdragon combo kind of flows into it. So, and then 2 Dragon Shrines, send Darkworm, send Destrudo, 1 Foolish Burial. Gotta rack up them spell counters. And then for our Orcust engine, I run 1 Orcust Crescendo, 1 Nightmare, 1 Simple Skeleton, and a Harp. Because one, like, I don't have Dingirisi, so I don't feel like getting it. But the counter trap, I feel like, is just a better way to go in general, at least for going first. Because then you get that 1 more negate, and not only that, it's another spell and trap negate. So if you happen to Divine Strike, negate Dark Ruler no more, negate the activation, they activate another one, or if they decide to red reboot you, you have the second option to go into. And then just 1 each of these. So I've seen people run like Orcust Nightmare into Orochi. I prefer to use Orcust Nightmare to do combo, because then when you have Simple Skeleton at the end, you have Destrudo and Graveyard. You can use this and Destrudo to make Dragster, which, like I said, is another negate, which is, like, awesome. And then I run 2 Call by the Grave. I've thought about 3. The reason why I run Call by the Grave is because even though you can work around hand traps in this deck, it's not always going to be guaranteed, and I want it to go through. Like, if anything goes through, I want Servant to go through, even if it's not Electromite. Because if it's not Electromite, I can still bounce back, I can still do a Gaurdragon combo. I might not have as many negates, but then I can at least stop Nibiru. But if that Servant gets ogred, you're kind of screwed. You're out of a scale. You don't have a negate. If they have Nibiru, you're done. Plus, if you do, spell counters, so good stuff there. And then, so for the extra deck, I run, for the generic links, Heavy Metal Foes Electromite, you're running Pendulum, you run that, and a land for Orcust. You could also run Beat Cop if you wanted to. It's just a generic link too. Like, let's say with Rocket, they hit your Electromite, you want something to be able to come back with, so I just went with Land for Orcust, it's cheap, and then like Beat Cop might as well be a normal monster. You can hate me for saying that, but, and then Gaurdragon Engine, LP, Agripane, Triple Burst, Sphere. Pretty simple. And then some of the stuff I like to bring out off of them is Vortex Dragon. And then something that I feel like is just kind of spicy in general is if you're going against a combo deck like Danger Thunder, right? They side Super Poly. They can get rid of Vortex because they can fuse it off with Dragostapelia. But other than that, the way the boards end up getting set up, you don't have enough dark monsters to make Starving Venom. So instead of making another Vortex, letting them go into Stapelia, or making Borload Savage and letting them go into Starving Venom, I use Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon for games 2 and 3 because it's still a monster negate. Not only that, going second, it allows you to gain the attack of a monster that's level 5 or higher, and gain that current attack, plus if you negate, you get more attack, which is in general just awesome. So basically you can use this to kill your opponent. You have this and Boral Sword out on the field, you're gonna win. Which is something just to always consider. Then for the Nightmares, and Orcust, Nightmare Mermaid, Phoenix, Galatea, Longirisu. Longirisu I have for going second. I have considered Dingirisu. I'm still not quite sure what I would take out, even if I had it. Extra deck space is tight, but of course, Nightmare Mermaid into Orcust combo. If they somehow get rid of your board or going second, they negate everything. As long as you can get out 2 monsters, you still have a chance. And then of course you can switch out Crescendo. So that's why I like this. I think more than anything is it provides you options, which I think in any meta deck is what you need. Plus Send and Phoenix is good. Phoenix is just good in general. Then for Link Force, I run Borload and Avermax. I like Avermax because you can just churn out a lot of monsters anyways. Plus it's non-targeting. Plus I don't have Boral Sword yet. But even if I did have Boral Sword, I think I might still consider running this. And then Borload, because even though it doesn't come up as often now, it's still something that's really nice to have, for example, against Thunder Dragon, especially with Pure Thunder coming back. And then for the last one, I just have a Dawn Dragster, because Dawn Dragster, it's that extra negate, what can I say? So that's going to be it for the deck profile. I would show side deck, but I'm still messing with some of the things. What I would give for advice for side deck is something like Abyss Dweller. This is still a Grave Heavy format, so making Abyss Dweller is amazing, especially if you run Pendulum Magician, because you can harmonize into it. Then I would also recommend something like Dimension Shifter, because you don't send stuff to the graveyard a lot, especially not during your turn. The only thing you're really sending is Destrudo, which if you use Dimension Shifter, you probably aren't going to need Dawn Dragster and Darkworm, so as long as you do your Darkworm first, you're fine. It doesn't normally come up again when you're special summoning a Darkworm from the grave, so you don't have to worry about that. And then of course, against other mirror matches, like I said, I would go Ghost Ogre over Nibiru, because Nibiru doesn't negate Jackal King. Ghost Ogre, the Servant, no Jackal King. Ghost Ogre, the Electromite, no combo. But that's just what I recommend. Of course, like I said, I showed you this for engine so you can customize yourself, because there's just so many different branches this deck could take. You can run a Magispector engine, which I actually do plan on doing a Magispector deck profile if you're interested. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks to Side Deck Cafe for letting me film here, and yeah, peace.
I'm going to have to put on my fucking double-seeing glasses because I can't even begin to see the amount of bullshit coming from you.